LeBron James has scored many points.
Lots.
38,024. That's basically Steph Curry and Giannis put together, and then another 2K on top of that. Kareem has about 3 weeks left as the NBA's all-time leading scorer. Lakers at home, second straight night. Jabari Smith, he's 19. He makes LeBron feel old.
Hey, you played against my dad. Your first NBA game ever. Really. Sacramento. You feel old, don't you?
I think LeBron said something about, I just had a liver spot explode in my hand. Oh, my goodness. James working over Smith. That's a man literally half his age, 38 and 19. Lakers up 6. Kenyon Martin Jr. Rockets cut the lead to 2. And guess what? LeBron played against your dad, too. Russell Westbrook, 24. He's all up in there to crunch 1. Lakers up 4. Give me some James. He was 16 of 26, 48 points in this one. His third 40-point game of the season. All of them in the last 7 games. The Lakers win 140-132. So LeBron goes for 48. First career 40-point game against the Rockets. I didn't know there was something he hadn't done. He's the second player in NBA history with multiple 45-point games at the age of 38 or older, joining Michael Jordan. By the way, he's been 38 for what, like a week and a half now?
Yeah.
James, by the way, played in just his 7th game.
To the bench. I would remind you he was shooting 8% from three-point range in the first 3 games of the season. 8%. I also would remind you he was turning the ball over and he wasn't looking like the Russell Westbrook we had expected him to look like, especially one who needed to make amends for last season. Since he's come off the bench, he deserves credit for a multitude of things. Number 1, he's playing better basketball. Number 2, he's being a better leader. Number 3, he's one of the league leaders off the bench, if not the league leader off the bench in assists. He's clearly a spark plug, and more importantly, to be a first ballot future Hall of Famer, okay, to be willing to relegate himself to coming off the bench says a lot about his basketball character, which we all should pay attention to. Agreed. Because so many people out there maligned him and acted like he didn't have the character to have his role adjusted and do something. But it's all about communication. So he deserves a boatload of credit. Darvin Ham deserves a boatload of credit. Absolutely. And it's not the greatest look for Frank Vogel because clearly you had an inability to communicate with Russell Westbrook in a fashion that Darvin Ham is able to communicate with them in order for him to look better. So they won 8 of their last 10 games prior to last night. And once again, we raved about them. We come on the air, doggy, and we raved about them. We raved about them yesterday. And what happens? Anthony Davis out with the flu. And Lonnie Walker, hold on. Lonnie Walker averaging 16 a game, shooting 39% from three-point range, balling. We raved about him, and then he go last night and shoot 3 of 10 from the field and score 7 points. See, this is the problem. This kind of stuff that gets to me, okay? Because it's like, damn, I should have shut up. I should have shut up, or I should have been critical. The second you give them love, stuff like this happens. See, this is the problem that people concern themselves with the Lakers, okay? Because we understand everything got to be right in order for them to be as formidable as we suspect they'll be. But it's almost like, damn it, the second you sit up there and you're complimentary of them, it reminds you of them winning the championship and everybody raved about them, and then they come back and they wet the bed. When you praise them, they can't deal with prosperity in Southern California. And that's a problem. Go ahead, doggy.
Why did you praise him to begin with? I mean, my goodness.
2018, although because he was trying to get traded, Anthony Davis missed 26 games. Do you know why people question the legitimacy of the Lakers title in the bubble? Let's bring this up. Put KB up back on that screen because I want to see my brother when I'm talking to him. This is a big deal. KP, you ain't going to deny this. They played their 62 games, whatever, right? Keep this in mind, bro. People are not questioning the greatness of LeBron and not trying to delegitimize his title because it was in the bubble. They're saying bubble play resumed after a 4-month hiatus due to the pandemic. What they're saying is, had it not been for a pandemic, Anthony Davis would have got injured. That's what they're saying, okay? So what happens? The next year, Anthony Davis comes back. He misses 36 games. This year, he comes back, and what happens? This year, he comes back, and he's missed 42 games. Actually, it wasn't 42.
42, that's
40
what I
games.
had.
Yeah, 42 games. So he actually missed 46 games the year before. So what I'm saying is you missed 46 games one year. You missed 40 games this year. That's 86 games he's missed in the last 2 years. And so when you look at it from that perspective, all you're questioning is Anthony Davis. This is no question. Listen, it's a freak injury. It's not your fault, et cetera, et cetera. But all that means is that he can get hurt by anything because the durability that other people have available to them, he hasn't been blessed enough to have. It ain't his fault, but it's a reality. That's why you got people talking about whether or not he should be traded. Nobody would dream of trading Anthony Davis voluntarily if that brother could give you 70 games a year. You just doubt that he'll be able to.
Right. But Stephen A., see, I agree with everything you said except the one part about the bubble, because it could work the other way as well. Think about it. Having 4 months off, not being able to train properly, not being able to get up and down, and then all of a sudden you go to the bubble and now you step into the high intensity of the play-in and playoffs. Like, your body may not hold up then. You have a higher chance of I'm saying to the people out there, not you. I'm talking to the people out there because I hear those same things. So my thing is this. Yes, I get what people are saying for as the 4-month layoff, but it could have worked the other way around as well. Like soft tissue injuries or whatever the case may be, we could have saw guys get injured. So I just wanted to say it's a give and take for us when you talk about the bubble situation, not no other point.
It's a give and take when you talk about the bubble situation, and I'm with you. I don't delegitimize the Lakers title with LeBron and AD. They earned it. That was a hard time for all of us to endure, and they made it worth our while. I mean, they salvaged the NBA season, and they deserve a lot of props for that. I'm simply saying that when people look at Anthony Davis, it is legit to question if the season hadn't been interrupted, would he have been healthy enough for the playoffs? Because something always seems to happen to him health-wise. And he has to accept that. Don't be salty about it. Be salty if they're saying you can't play. Be salty if they're saying that you're not a team player or something ridiculous like that. None of those things get thrown in Anthony Davis's direction. He's considered a great player, a quality person. We got love for the brother. Yeah. But durability is an issue, and he has to accept that because it's a fact.
Well, you heard him in the quote. Him and LeBron are going to get together, reevaluate, and figure it all out.
Well, him and LeBron need to get together. He needs to go wherever LeBron goes and follow LeBron around.
I guess my question to you and to both of you, by doing this deal, does that actually make the Lakers a contender? Because at some point, you're right, LeBron is not going to be there, and they've spent the last 3 or 4 off seasons and seasons mortgaging their future to win now with LeBron. And we've seen that story before, right? We saw that in Cleveland. So at some point, you do have to start thinking about the future. And potentially the reason there could be reluctance on the Lakers' part is maybe they're waiting for another player to potentially become available where they can use those picks and use Russ's contract in a deal that will actually move the needle. Because this is not a knock on Buddy Hield, and this is not a knock on Miles Turner. I don't know in the Western Conference adding those two guys to this roster moves the needle that much.
Well, let me throw out my position on this, Jay, because I want to hear what you have to say about it on a couple of fronts. Number one, I do the deal. I completely agree with Wilbon. I do the deal because, A, I'm getting 2 additional players for one, all right, in Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. I also do the deal because Miles Turner could play the 5. Anthony Davis, who doesn't want to play the 5 but is willing to play the 5 because Darvin Ham said so, obviously this changes things and it allows him to be at what he perceives to be his natural position of being the 4. So I think that helps there as well. So you got you got an additional body, 2 for 1. You got the ability to move Anthony Davis from the 5 to the 4. You definitely have a shooter in Buddy Hield because you definitely have somebody that can spread the floor to give Anthony Davis and LeBron James some room to operate, and you don't have defenses sagging off into the paint because they know they don't have to worry about you hitting perimeter shots. Not to mention the fact that when you take into account the 2027 and the 2029 picks, back in the day, it was just college. Now you got the G League. Now you got talent in Europe. Now you've got free agency, and it is it is Southern California. There's a lot of people looking for an excuse to go there, and you know it because the tax situation is horrendous, but people will still gravitate to going to Los Angeles, California. So when you look at it from that perspective, and it's the Laker brand, I still think that you don't need the draft in order to build. You're not selling your future that way because you can operate in free agency as long as you have the cap space. These guys aren't signed for years to come. Both of them got a couple of years left on their contract at max. And two bodies are better than one. And then the absence of Russell Westbrook also leaves the Patrick Beverleys of the world and others to be at the point guard spot without having